Thanks to the support as a channel member, Timothy Howland. Folks, it is with regret that I have to announce that my plan to try and win the double this year, the Premier League and the Champions League, is over. Because we're going to try and win the treble. Let's get the FA Cup in there as well. Come on now. Hello and welcome to Club 4, part 41 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a big Champions League quarter-final second leg away against Juventus and then an FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. We were going to be playing Manchester City in the league in this episode, but then we got through to the semi-final of the FA Cup. That game got moved, and I thought, you know what? We're at Wembley. We should probably... It's the FA Cup semi-final. We're Norwich. I assume Norwich have never won the FA Cup. Norwich have never won the FA Cup. Should probably show you the FA Cup semi-final. So we're taking our eyes off the league just for a moment for today. The league is still looking good, as you can see from our recent form. We're doing all right. 7 games to go. We're 5 points clear of the aforementioned Manchester City. And Champions League-wise, we played the first leg off camera at home against Juventus, a 3-2 win. If I recall, it was a late goal from Juventus... Late-ish. I mean, 64 minutes. Not that late, but we were 3-1 up, and I felt a lot more comfortable at 3-1 up. The encouraging thing to take out of this is the match stats. We absolutely smashed them, but it is a little bit alarming that they got 2 goals from their 3 shots on target and 0.57 XG. I suspect they'll be a little bit more attack-minded at their place. They are the dominant team in Italy throughout the length of this save so far. I think it's fair to say we're emerging as the dominant team in England after the last few years, but as much as we probably have as much as, if not more, quality on a player-by-player basis than Juventus have at this point, the one thing we don't have is that big game experience, big tournament experience. We've never gone this deep. Well, we've been this deep in the Champions League once before, and we got knocked out. So this is uncharted territory for us, whereas same old for Juventus. They're probably going to be feeling fairly confident going into this second leg, which we are going to be playing now. This is the team that we're sending to Italy. We've got Hoy and Hal in goal, a back four of Aranua, Moura, Fernandez and Paviot, Navarro at the base of the midfield, Tipple and Janacek ahead of him, Schultz behind Pedro Luis and Delgado. You can see we have everyone everyone available who we would want to have in. The one absentee from the bench is Gilberto Carlos, who's not in our Champions League squad because he was injured, and I thought he was going to be out for the season. It turns out he's not. And Tammy Abraham, who unfortunately, at 36 years old now and 2 months away from retirement, is in a pretty substantial decline at this point. We loved Tammy Abraham for as long as we could keep him going for. As you can see, he's not really involved anymore. Fallen out of the team. Falling off the bench now. And it's a shame. If only we could have got him a few years earlier and enjoyed just a little bit more Tammy time. But he is basically focusing on his responsibilities as the highest paid under-18s coach in world football these days. Let's go to Italy. 3-2 up from the first leg. I mean, it's every game's a massive game at this point of the season when we're trying to win 3 different competitions. But this is a massive game. This is the one we really, really, really want. I've spent the last goodness knows how many episodes outlining my dream scenario for how Non-League to Legend ends this year. And the dream does kind of rely on winning the Champions League this year while Brendan Rodgers is having his Dortmund wobble, because I suspect he's getting fired this summer. And if we're not in a position to make that leap, going to Dortmund comes off the cards, really, because unless the next guy comes in and gets sacked as well and we get to go there next year, it ruins the fairy tale a little bit for me. That being the fairy tale of sticking 2 fingers up at Schalke down the road and saying, look what we're doing here with your big rivals. But, you know, it'll amuse me. And I think a lot of you have known me long enough now to know that the main motivator for what I do in life is I do what amuses me. And that will amuse me greatly. Juventus have had a bright start to the game. We don't want to be seeing any of that. Janacek has picked up an early knock. We're going to keep an eye on him. We're not going to take him off just yet because we've seen time and time again this season and the previous couple of seasons just how important Janacek can be. He is a match winner. We we want to keep him on the pitch if we can. That's a lovely ball into Schultz, talking of match winners. And unfortunately, he's not able to keep his shot under the crossbar. It's pulled knee ligaments that Janusek may potentially have. We've got Griffin Diaz down there on the bench. We've also got Shepherd. I'd probably be more inclined to bring Shepherd on, just because Tipple and Diaz are very, very similar. I guess what we could do is move Tipple over to the box-to-box midfielder role, but then we're taking away Tipple's attacking threat, and we know how important Tipple's attacking threat can be. We'll give Janusek until half-time if he doesn't go red injured, and we'll review the situation from there. Right, Juventus, trying to build something from the back here. This has been a very strange highlight, but it does look like it's a highlight that's going to result in them getting a chance, presumably, because we don't look like we're going to be winning the ball back unless, I mean, there's some decent closing down there from Schultz. Maybe we are going to win the ball back. Delgado now closing down. And now we've got Paviot closing down on that side. They're pulling us out of position all over the place, but we're nearly getting there. There is Janusek, and that's what you're leaving him on the pitch for. Janusek playing it through to Delgado. He's still got a man to beat, but he's got Pedro Luis in the middle. If he can find him, he cuts it back to Navarro, who shoots. And his shot goes over. But that's why Janusek is on the pitch. He just, you don't get that from really anyone else we've got in our midfield. He is the high energy guy in there, but unfortunately, his fitness level seems to be plummeting as the game is going on. I think we are going to have to take him off at half-time. So we'll bring on Griffin Diaz. We'll do that change we talked about before. Diaz can be the more attacking of the two. Tipple playing in a relatively unfamiliar box-to-box midfield role, although I think I've mentioned an episode or two back that there's been a few games where we played Tipple at the base of the diamond. I think we are starting to prepare for life with Griffin Diaz as a starter. I think it's coming, and I think the most likely way is Tipple's going to drop back into the DM role, and we'll play Diaz and Janusek as our central midfield too. I think we're getting there, and it's quite the audition for Diaz today, a Champions League quarter-final where we need a big performance from him, and we need an even bigger performance now, because that is the last thing we wanted to see happen. Juventus 1, Norwich 0 on the night. It's 3-3 on aggregate. Remember, away goals don't count extra. They're just normal goals. Forget calling them away goals. Goals is goals. That's all it is. And at 3-3, we've got to create something. We've had one shot on target in this match. I said Juventus would likely be a little bit more ambitious in this second leg. They've not been bombarding us. I mean, they're an Italian team. Italian teams aren't going to go gung-ho at us, but we're not really doing anything in our own right. We're going to bring Shepherd on for Tipple to continue that search for energy in midfield. And I think we take off Delgado, who's had a poor and very quiet game. Get Casellare on. The motivation for Casellare to score in Italy. And also it allows Pedro Luis to go a little bit further forward into that main attacking striker role and see if we can get a little bit of Pedro Luis magic one more time. But it looks like it's not going to be working out the way we hoped this evening. Hoyenhau comes for the cross, doesn't get there, and Juventus are 2-0 up. And I talked about it pre-match. I think we're probably a better team than Juventus, but we're not. It's experience, it's naivety, it's upsetting. Have we got the stones to get out there and drag ourselves back into this game? We need to show a lot of grit and personality and fight now. We've got to believe that we deserve a Champions League semi-final spot. Griffin Diaz is in here, cuts it back to Aaron, looking for Pedro Luis, but can't find him. And they're just lumping the ball forward now. We've got to camp out in their half now for these final 20 minutes and hope that the pressure can force a goal. Oh, with the cross, Pedro Luis is there, and his header starts over as well. Oh, we've had some chances. We really have had chances today, and unfortunately, and we've seen this in the Champions League before, when it really, really, really counts, sometimes our strikers just fluff their lines, and we saw it there from Pedro Luis. Hoyenhau coming out to collect. We've got 15 minutes left. We've just got to believe that there's a goal coming. Mura running the ball into the Juventus half. Schultz now, ball over the top. Pedro Luis is in behind again, and this time he doesn't fluff his lines. And don't you dare rule that out, referee. Please let us have this. I've been a good boy this year. Santa, please let me have a gift. Thank you very much. I'm glad I left him a mince pie It's 2-1 on the night to Juventus, 4-4 on aggregate. The job is far from done here, but that does get us back into the game, and it gets Pedro Luis a little bit of confidence that he's got goals in him against Juventus. We're staying attacking. We have been the better team in this game. Maybe. I mean, you can interpret those stats one of two ways. I'm doing it purely on XG, which means we've been the better of the two teams, and we've just got to go for it. I don't want to leave it to chance in a penalty shootout. As much as I think Hoy and Hal would likely be a hero in a penalty shootout, we don't want to be leaving things to chance. I'm looking at the bench. The only attacking option we've got is Gaza. I think we can make one more change here. I think bringing Gaza on would be insane, but at times like this, Diego Knoll for a little bit of leadership doesn't seem like the worst idea. I mean, we had the option of bringing Caesar on for just more of the same, more of what we've got out there. But I think Knoll for experience, for leadership. He's a former club captain. He's an experienced international. Get him out there and hope he doesn't mess up. Hoy and Hal. I mean, very dramatic there from Hoy and Hal, but he did end up holding onto the ball, which is the important thing. We're approaching half-time in extra time here, and I love it. We're just faffing around at the back. Why not? Have a little faff, boys. Enjoy yourselves. Diaz to Schultz, Shepherd, Pedro Luis. Paviot is on the overlap here. Can he find one of his crosses? He can. Pedro Luis trying to get on the end of it, but can't. That's where we needed Tammy Abraham. How handy would it be to bring him on there? Shepherd is in, though. Squares it for Casolari. And the amount of times I've written that man off. And he's turned up with an incredibly important goal. And he's done it again there. He is the greatest super sub in the history of this channel. Because we never start him. We never give him a fair crack of the whip. And he is just becoming a cult hero. He's been here about 5 years. He's always good for a goal when it's needed. And all of a sudden, we are back ahead of this tie. And I need to get us off attacking. Go back down to a positive mentality. 2-2 on the night. 5-4 to us on aggregate. There are 10 minutes remaining. We have been the better team. We deserve this. But can we hold on? Just a couple of minutes remaining. There's been no highlight in the second half of extra time, which is perfect. And Norwich City are in the semi-finals of the Champions League, and it's all thanks to Vincenzo Casolari. What a man. Who are we playing? I need to know immediately. Bayern Munich. Oh, my word. It doesn't get any... Look at the run City having. Wolfsburg. Who did they just play? City have just knocked out Inter. So they're getting like the third best team in each country where we're having to play the best team. If we win the Champions League, we are genuinely doing it European Cup style. We've now knocked out, were Real Madrid the champions of Spain? Did we play them? I don't think we did this year. That might have been last year. But we knocked out Juventus, champions of Italy. We've now got to face Bayern Munich, champions of Spain. And then we might have to have the final showdown with a Manchester City team that we are going to be playing a lot between now and the end of the season. We've got the FA Cup semi-final coming up now. We get to play them in the league eventually. We're both still in the Champions League, so it's getting pushed further and further back. And we are effectively in a two-horse race in the Premier League as well. It's going to be a very interesting run-in. We've got the Champions League semi-final tomorrow. I'll show you some league football at some point too, because we want to win the Premier League. But for now, all eyes on Wembley. It is the FA Cup semi-final against, guess who? Manchester City. It's always Manchester City. Right, we've got a few tired boys with achy old bones going into the Manchester City game. We're rotating out as many as we can, but with Shepherd unavailable because he's a Manchester City player and Mura picking up an injury, we're having to leave Aaron in, even though he's not fully fit. But we've got Nolan Caesar coming in at centre-back, Zamorano coming in at the base of midfield, even though he's returning from injury, but fitter than Navarro is right now. And then we've got Gilberto Carlos coming in behind the front two, and Casolari is going to partner Delgado, while Pedro Luis starts from the bench because of his tired little legs. Norwich City versus Manchester City. I think not only an FA Cup final place at stake, this is also, we're battling for the rights to the name City. If they lose, they're going to have to change their name to just Manchester. I think that's fair. I don't think Manchester United will have any objections. They're not even in the game. So, you know, they can't object in this universe. And, I mean, is this our first... When was the last time we were at Wembley? I'm trying to remember the last time we played at Wembley in this series. Have we played at Wembley in this series? Let me know down in the comments. You lot will know better than me usually, especially those of you who've sat through and watched this entire series over the last couple of weeks. There's always a few. You'll have much more recent memories than me. For me, this has been going on for months. And my word, Sergio Delgado has scored again. 37 goals for the season now. Fairly confident that'll be his first goal at Wembley, even if it's not mine in the series. I know on the Earth 2 version of this save that we play on Twitch most afternoons, we've been to Wembley many times because we keep losing playoff finals and getting to the FA Trophy final. But I don't think we did any of that before the multiverse was established and we split the save off into 2. So I don't know. We may not have been to Wembley before. Casolare, and his header goes just wide. A rare start for Casolare. I think it's fair to say he earned it in that last game with his late winner against Juventus. So that's why he gets the nod today. I was very much toying with the idea of bringing LOLLUJO in, because we've seen heroics from LOLLUJO before. He certainly deserves more game time than he gets. He would be getting more game time if he was in any team that didn't have Hoyenhal in it. Obviously, Hoyenhal, pretty difficult to displace in goal for us, but with 2 changes happening to the centre-back partnership, I figured it was probably a bad idea to change the goalkeeper and both centre-backs for such an important game, and Hoyenhal wasn't tired, so Hoyenhal keeps his spot, and as do the 2 fullbacks, obviously. Treble with the header, and it just tickles the top of the crossbar, I think, as it ends up going wide, and it's Manchester City to get things started again. I think this is the goal kick that resulted straight from that chance, and we've won the ball back immediately. Casolare to Gilberto Carlos. This is beautiful football. I can't keep up with it. And Casolare ultimately was played through by Janusek, and the goalkeeper makes a save from what was actually quite a tame shot from Casolare, but it's another corner for us, and there's Casolare again. I tell you what, he's getting some chances early on. He's forced another corner. Gilberto Carlos hasn't moved from the spot where he took the last one, and he's whipping it in again, this time to the far post, looking for Caesar. Falls to Paviot. Paviot looping it over to Janusek, who's got acres of space to have a shot. In fact, he's had the cross. And Treble with his header straight at the City goalkeeper. I don't know if he's having a blinding game or we're a little bit off with our shooting at the moment. He seems to be a lot of time with that man having the ball in his hands, like he's got it again there from yet another corner. I feel like we might live to rue the fact that we've only scored once in this opening half hour or so of total dominance from us. And in fact, here are City on the break, and we're ruining it. I said I didn't want to rue it. It's now being rude. I mean, they've got Adeyemi and Mbappe up front. It's not fair. I mean, I guess in this version of reality, teams look at us with Pedro Luis and Delgado and are like, well, that's not fair. They've got both of them. But they've got Doku, Adeyemi and Mbappe with Bellingham, Rice and Wirtz in midfield behind them. It's quite a good front 6, really. Old, quite good. 1-1 at half-time. At the moment, we can both still call ourselves City. If we can't be Norwich City anymore, what are we going to call ourselves? I think we'll double-cross them, we'll swindle them, and we'll carry on calling ourselves Norwich City anyway. But force them to change if they lose. They're the rules. We'll enforce them. They can't. We're not afraid of you, Manchester. Just Manchester, as we're going to call you from now on. They brought Nico on, who, of course, we had a little bit of exposure to in the Rebuilding Barcelona series that we did right at the end of FM21. If you've not seen that yet, goodness me, you should go and see that. One of the best things I've ever done. Certainly one of the most viewed things I've ever done. And now Erenur across to Zamorano. Treble is in. We've seen him charge through from this position so many times before. He was a little deep, I think, though, and his shot ends up going high and wide. So into the final half an hour of the match, and we probably need to start looking in terms of making substitutions. We have got some significant star power on our bench, which isn't necessarily the usual situation we're in, but obviously with so many players being rested today, we've got some game changers down there. Why are they in the wrong order? There we go. That makes more sense. So we're going to take off Treble for Diaz. We're going to get Pedro Luis on for Casolare. And the logical thing is to get Schultz on in some way as well. I think Schultz for Janusek and drop Gilberto Carlos back into midfield. And we go with our superstar front three. We need a goal. We're at Wembley. There's a spot in the FA Cup final at stake, and we'd love to win the FA Cup. So let's try and win the FA Cup, shall we? 1-1, 10 minutes to go. Presumably extra time and penalties to come. I think we have replays when we're playing at Wembley. Probably. That's my assumption. We've sold it out, though. You know, if that's not an argument to the board that we need a bigger stadium, I don't know what is. This would hurt if it happens like this. Luckily, it didn't. 1-1 still, 30 seconds left in the match. I think we are heading for extra time. And what that brings with it, I think, is the possibility of another substitution, which is going to be handy. We need that. I guess the one thing that stands in our favour a little bit here in the grand picture of things, Man City are the team we're competing with in the Premier League, and they're still in the Champions League, and arguably pretty strong competition in that as well. So even if it does go to extra time, we're not really taking a fitness disadvantage against our rivals. I guess it's just going to be Bayern Munich rubbing their hands together at the prospect, and Wolfsburg probably, of us tiring ourselves out, duking it out in a big game at Wembley shortly before the Champions League semi-final. English football is nuts. Right, Paviot is a broken man. We're going to bring on Romero, who hopefully is going to come on full of running on that right-hand side and tear them apart. That's what we're looking for. We know he's got it in him, but I mean, he's the most fit, energetic man on the pitch now. We need to get the ball to him and just get him to run at them and rip them apart. There is Romero, and he's giving the ball away. That's not quite what I was looking for. Luckily, alert enough to win the ball back. He did really well there, covered for his own mistake, and now Delgado is in, and I'm not sure what he did there. I don't think you'd call that a shot. Something odd has happened, and it ends up back with us for a throw as we approach half-time in extra time. 2 matches in a row, we've gone to extra time. We're tired. Pedro Luis plays it into Schultz. A goal here would be very helpful. It's bobbling around inside the 6-yard box and there's no one there to poke it home. It's still 1-1. Very similar to the situation against Bayern Munich. It wasn't Bayern Munich, it was Juventus. Very similar to the situation against Juventus. We've been the better team here. Do a football, lads. Schultz, top corner. That'd be lovely. Come on now. So close. So very, very close. Let's encourage them one more time. One final push, or it's going to be the lottery of penalties. And no one wants to do penalties. We've got to do penalties. Oh, dear. Well, here we go then. Penalty shootout. For a spot back here at Wembley for the FA Cup final. Is the treble on? Can we have yet another heroic day from Hoyenhal in goal for us? Or are we going to have one of our outfield players become a villain? Hopefully not Delgado. That would be very sad. Never going to be Delgado, was it? He always scores. What a hero. Declan Rice then. Old man Declan. Must be well into his 30s now. And Hoyenhal make the save. Ooh, Hoyenhal does not make the save. Look, that goalkeeper's having a lovely time down there. Schultz now. Much younger than anyone else who's actually not much younger than Delgado. I was going to say he's the youngest penalty taker so far, and that is the best penalty so far. Takes a brave man, a young man, unburdened by fear and experience to hit a penalty like that. And some guy called Flynn now for City, and he scores as well, 3-2, as we are at the halfway point of the shootout, and Pedro Luis steps up to take his. We're certainly front-loading our 5 with our better penalty takers here. Pedro Luis scores 3-3. And now City, once again, come on, we want a Hoyenhal moment here. That's what we're looking for. He's making himself big on the line, and he goes the right way, but can't get his fingertips to it. And now it's Griffin Diaz. This is a huge amount of pressure on the youngster who's probably only ever started a handful of games for us, and he doesn't care. He's just going to score his penalty anyway because he is a hero. Nico, I still see him as a youngster at Barcelona, but he's presumably an old man as well now, and he scores. Oh, God, it's one of these penalty shootouts. It's horrible. Who's taking number 5 for us? Because I just take the assistant manager pick. You saw me do it. I'd get it wrong. They'll get it right, I hope. It is Noel stepping up to take the penalty. We talked about his experience and leadership in the last match. There's a lot of pressure on him here. If anyone can cope with the pressure, It's not him. We lost. Fantastic. Well, I mean, I didn't want to win the treble anyway. If you were led to believe otherwise at any point during this episode, that feels like it was an error on your end. The focus was always winning the league and Champions League double. I'm pretty confident I never said otherwise. We're still on course. Bayern Munich tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.